So in this podcast, I want to talk about what supplies I would bring to the Area 51 raid. So I want to treat this as if September 20th, 3 a.m., I'm in the desert trying to get into Area 51 to find UFOs and aliens. Completely hypothetical, although maybe if the meme keeps picking up hype and steam, maybe I will go there and just kind of film a YouTube video. But anyways, let's get into it. So if you haven't heard, the Area 51 raid is a Facebook event that was planned. And basically it's going to happen on September 20th at 3 a.m. There's, I believe, 2 million people signed up, or maybe even more signed up, to raid Area 51 at 3 a.m. on September 20th. It's basically turned into a meme at this point, but it's super fascinating. And basically the goal is to get into Area 51 to find aliens and UFOs that the US government has been hiding from us. First, what I want to talk about is that it's actually not going to be as hot as people think it is. Because first of all, it's September 20th, so it's going to be, starting into fall, so it's going to be a little bit colder. And it's also going to be 3 a.m., so it's going to be in the middle of the night, which I don't think a lot of people were envisioning. Because I was thinking like, oh, it's in the desert, it's going to be hot and sunny. And it's like, no, it's going to be pitch black out when it starts. And actually, I don't even know if the sun's going to come up by 6 a.m., But yeah, like a desert in nighttime is actually pretty cold, so I don't know if it'll be as hot as people think it'll be. That being said, I'd probably bring some water. Definitely wouldn't want to be one of the first people walking to the raid, or walking in front of the raid to Area 51. Wouldn't want to do that. What I would probably bring is some sort of like shield or device to basically protect myself from any bullets that would be fired if they were to be fired. And the best thing I could think of is like some sort of SWAT shield or something. So basically, you could just keep walking and it would be able to stop, weapons and stuff. I wonder if you could get like a bunch of people with like SWAT shields and kind of create this like the Roman turtle effect, where it's like you have shields in front and then like shields overhead, so it's like protecting. But I don't know like how bulletproof those would actually be though. But I think that would probably be your best bet if you were like to actually do it. Yeah, what else is there? Yeah, it's gonna be like pretty hectic out there too though. There's gonna be like even if like 1% of the people show up, it'd be like 1% of a million would be like 10,000 people. To this tiny little town of like 100 people. Yeah, so supposedly like even getting out there logistically would be kind of like hard to do. So maybe like RVing it would be better than just like driving a car up there, like taking an Uber or something. I think it'll definitely be an event though. I don't know if there'll be like an actual raid on it, but I think like the guy who was being interviewed, it was kind of hilarious if you haven't seen. He's got like the whole Naruto like headband on. He's like talking about it, and he was basically saying like, oh yeah, it's going to be an event of like it's going to be educational, there's going to be music. So I think basically they're just going to like, it's going to be a real event that's going to happen, but it's going to turn into like basically like a festival or something, or like a show, and then there's going to probably be a documentary, and there's definitely going to be like news coverage of it. Yeah, I mean, there's already like a bunch of news coverage and talk about it, like even on just YouTube. There's a bunch of YouTube videos about it. And then also like Keemstar actually came out with a video game that I guess is in early access right now, and comes out in a couple days, and it's like, wow, that's pretty fast to come out with a video game. But hey, Keemstar's capitalizing on it. But kind of interested to see how that video game is going to turn out, because it's like they couldn't have had it in development for that long, because the meme's only like a week or two old at this point. So I don't really know how in depth it'll be, but it looks like they're going to keep working on it, at least probably up until September 20th happens. But yeah, it's just super fascinating what's going on with it. And yeah, so what else would I bring to the raid? Maybe some sort of compass, but I don't even know if you would need that, because like you probably just see the bases or the buildings, you know what I mean? So you probably wouldn't need a compass to directly find them. What I think they might do is like they might shut off like cell service near the area on the day just to like minimize like communication. So even like something like radios or walkie-talkies, like they might even like hit those frequencies as well, just to kind of stop communication. But it's kind of fascinating that like the U.S. Air Force came out so strongly and they're like, yeah, like we'll actually defend this with force if that many people showed up. But I mean, if actually like 1 million people showed up, that's like, I don't know if anything could stop that many people. I mean, like how many people did like in World War II did Germany have on the Eastern Front? You know, I think it was like, I don't think it was more than 1 million or 2 million people. So it's like, I mean, if 1 million people actually showed up, I don't know how they could actually stop that many people. But they would, I mean, it's got so much coverage now that if there is anything there, they probably would have moved it, or they're going to move it before, September 20th. So, but that's the other thing too. Like, I think, there's like the whole conspiracy theory in the conspiracy theory, which is that this whole Area 51 thing is just a front. It's just a distraction, basically, from what's really going on. And they're trying to like, I mean, it is kind of crazy. It's like the government's saying now that it's like, oh yeah, we have footage and pilots all the time run into UFOs. And it's like, really? Like, why are they pushing UFOs so heavily right now? But, yeah. I kind of believe more on that front, that it's just kind of like a big front, and there's a whole Netflix documentary, and then Bob Lazar, went on Joe Rogan, and that podcast went huge, and yeah, it's just fascinating what's going on. I mean, maybe it's real, but I want to see more proof, that's for sure. I mean, if the Area 51 raid is successful, then maybe we will get more proof, but maybe that's what they want to happen. Maybe they do want people to actually get in, and they're gonna like show them some BS UFOs or something to kind of push the whole aliens are real idea further. But yeah, it's definitely a fascinating event though, that like, well, like while that's happening, there's like actual like revolts going on around the world. I guess they're always happening, like revolts going on around the world, but like the whole thing happened in Hong Kong with like the protesters like actually like storming the legislation building and stuff to basically stop China from taking over and controlling Hong Kong and to like keep their freedom. And then it's like you got this whole thing going on in Puerto Rico as well, where like people are protesting against the governor to try to get him to resign. I think these are all just signs of like, and even to an extent the Area 51 raid, where it's like people aren't, like they want to know the truth. They don't really trust the government as much as they used to, because it's like the whole economy's collapsed. I think that's really what it boils down to, is like that we're heading for another recession, and all these events lead into it really. So, but yeah, it's just super fascinating. Like everything's interconnected. Yeah, I've also been looking a lot into cryptocurrency as well, and yeah, I don't know, man. I think like the U.S. has so much debt, China has so much debt, like basically every country in the world has so much debt, and like right now everyone's just basically just paying the interest payments. So it's like they're not even paying back the principal debt. So it's like if they did inflate the currencies, like the US dollar to the moon, then the debts basically go away, or they become much easier to pay off. And then if something like cryptocurrency steps in and takes over, then that's actually, I think that could actually benefit like every country in debt, which I think is every country in the world. If the fiat currency started getting inflated, because it would make every debt easier to pay off. But then, yeah, how did I get on cryptocurrency from Area 51? I don't know. Everything's connected. Yeah, but I mean, people can't deny though, like the price of Bitcoin, it's the best performing asset of the year. And it's like, it's done this like 5 times where it's gone parabolic. So I think it's going to the moon. And then the whole thing with Libra coming up. And I'm actually kind of surprised that politicians, they actually understand the difference between, like a corporate virtual currency like Libra and a decentralized cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. And actually, Libra kind of shows why we need Bitcoin and why it's so much better than fiat currency and Libra corporate currency. So I just think it's fascinating. And yeah, and even like some of the altcoins are kind of picking up too. They were like kind of crashed down, but now they're picking up a little bit. But I think the real FOMO is going to happen once Bitcoin hits the all-time high, which is around 20,000, and like things are just going to take off like crazy. But it's definitely pretty fascinating. And yeah, what else would I bring for an Area 51 raid? I don't know. I mean, really, I think the best bet would be if enough people showed up. That would be hard to actually stop, right? Yeah, that would, like, if 1 million people actually showed up, that would be, I don't know how they would actually stop that. That would be too many people, but, I mean, the thing is, too, it's so silly, because it's like people just want to see them aliens, right? So, it's like, what's the big deal? But, and I don't even think it's a real base anyways, because like, people found out about Area 51, like, 20, 30 years ago, so it's been known for a long time. But I think the real base is like, it's definitely somewhere else. Well, if it wasn't before, it definitely is going to be now, because it's got so much attention on it. But